Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2024 horror comedy film Last Night at Terrace Lane. So this is not a comedy film. I did not laugh once. This is a drama horror film because this is the last night at Terrace Lanes, where Terrace Lanes is the bowling alley. It's the last night of operation. They are closing. It's going to be knocked down to make condos. That's the premise. That's the premise of the place. But then this cult going there is semi-explained in the beginning. No, it is explained actually. And I'm thankful that it's explained. It's just not properly executed. 76 minutes long, including credits. This is the last night at Terrace Lane. So there's employees having heart-to-heart moments. You know, we grew up here. We did this, we did that. And, you know, this is as much as home as anybody could hope for. The carpet has always smelled the same. Stuff. Home. So, like, this isn't a comedy film. People are upset because this place that their home is being torn down. While that's happening, while people are dealing with the loss of Terrace Lanes, this cult, in the very beginning, is explained that they have they don't specifically say ley lines, but you need to understand what a ley line is to understand the maps that they had. Because they show a pentagram in the middle of the stars where they have to make the final sacrifices and blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's referencing ley lines, but it's not specifically saying ley lines. And I'm like, all right, fine. I'm there. Okay. So this cult in teal tracksuits and purge masks has to relay, whatever the word is I'm trying to think of. Go to Terrace Lanes, which is the ley line cross-section point of this star where they have to make the final sacrifice so they can transcend, right? As all cults do. So they then get there, they chain and padlock the doors, which are all made of glass. Okay. They do their thing. There's behind the bowling alley stuff. There's behind the pin rack stuff. There's the maintenance room. There's the pro shop. There's the food aspect. They definitely filmed in a bowling alley. It was probably a closed down bowling alley, and whoever this production company is rented it, made it functional for their scenes, and then the blood splattering and the cult, you know, attacking everybody inside and stuff. So it's then the last survivors have to figure out a way to survive, and then eventually defeat the head cult leader, who then gets chopped off and he rolls down the bowling alley and becomes a gutter ball, which is the only funny part. But they don't actually make a joke about it. It's just, when something is pitched as a comedy, I expect to laugh. It's not that hard. So there was a lot of problems with the script. And it was so slow and it was so agonizingly painful to watch certain scenes, which were dragging on and on. This is a 75-minute film. This should not be dragging on and on. This is an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 16 minutes. 76 minutes, including the credits. It should not make you feel like you're staring at the ceiling, waiting for the scene to end, to then finally get to the next part. It took too long to get from point A to point B to point C, and it was a very quick getting to the cult attacking the people bowling on the final night. One thing that really pissed me off, from a technical aspect, you're in a bowling alley, okay? You have to have the screens going in order for you to see what score you're on, right? This ain't the 1950s anymore, 1960s, 1970s. You're not with a pencil and paper, writing your score down. There's actual scoreboard above you to keep track of everything, to do the math, to have little graphics of the bowling pins dancing, and there's a turkey popping up and get 3 strikes. Hysterical. I used to bowl. So certain scenes had the screens on for the score and the little generic, you know, bowling alley flash scenes and stuff. And then certain scenes were pitch black. And there were characters literally talking about the screens, saying, oh, the score on the screen, or, oh, we have to reset the screen, or something. And it's black. Who decided to turn the screens off with the characters referencing that the screens have to be fixed or something to that extent, in regards to the score has to be fixed? Not a full system reboot. It pisses me off. And I mentioned something about, what was it? We were talking about Bodies. It was a horror film we talked about recently. Wherever they filmed, They kept the exit signs throughout the building. And so it broke the illusion that you're at this kid's parents' mansion, because a mansion is not going to have exit signs in the hallways. No, unless it's converted into a bed and breakfast or some kind of fancy Airbnb or something to that extent, right? More on a hotel front is when you have to put the exit signs for fire safety aspects. When you're doing, nobody covered the signs for the filming. How do you not see the green exit sign in the background, right? Lazy. This is a good example of lazy. Who in the hell decided to turn the screens off in a bowling alley when customers are talking, when bowlers are talking about the score, when bowlers are talking about getting the 300, when bowlers are talking about this and that? Why would you have the screens on in certain scenes and you have the screens off in certain scenes? What idiot decided that? Idiots. I have a problem with idiocy. I have a problem with incompetence. I have a problem with laziness. I have a problem with common sense not being common. And I don't know how to dumb myself down to not care about that, if that makes sense. I don't know how to change that about my personality. And it's unfortunate, and I hate having this as a personality. I hate it. I hate seeing things that other people can't see. I hate it. Because then everybody else is deemed stupid, and then only I am correct. But that's a very narcissistic thing to say. But it's not narcissism when you're noticing things that should be common. But again, common sense is not common. So it's this duality that I've been struggling with for quite some time, but it's only been very prevalent now. And the more I'm watching certain things, and the more I'm watching certain B movies, I'm noticing this. You don't notice this a lot with regards to A movies, theatrical releases, stuff like that. I'm noticing this a lot with B and C films. Maybe it's because the budget is smaller and people aren't paid enough to pay attention. Let's say that. Let's just assume, and it's not, you should never assume, because you'll always be let down if you're assuming something. But for argument's sake, let's assume that because the budget is not as high as compared to theatrical release films, that these independent B and C films that I have been watching and that I have been noticing excessive amounts of errors with, in regards to the technical aspect, let's assume that that the editors are not getting paid enough, that the set designers are not getting paid enough, that the maintenance individuals are not getting paid enough to care about what's happening in the background. Let's assume. This was not a funny film. This was a serious film. I enjoyed the kill shots. I thought using the bowling alley props as weaponry was clever. You know, we've seen Anniversary Apocalypse, which was great bowling alley horror. We've seen Day Shift with Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco, which was great bowling alley horror. I'm sure there's been other bowling alley horror things that I've seen that I'm just not coming to mind as of right now. So Big Lebowski is a full movie about bowling alley, but it's not horror. That's a comedy film. That's a drama comedy film. And I love projects that involve bowling because you don't really have that sport in mainstream things, right? So I liked seeing that. I thought that was neat. I thought that was clever. Teen Wolf has a bowling alley date scene in the very first season, which I think is neat. But whatever. I like bowling alleys. I grew up with bowling alleys. I bowled in 2 bowling alleys consistently when I was a kid, and then one shut down and I was just at the other one for various times up to my late teens, and then things happened in life and I haven't been on a league ever since. I wasn't that good, but it was still the experience, the moment, the smells, the sounds of the pins, like certain parts of this, certain parts of the conversations that the characters were having about the rug always smells the same. I understand that. I get that. The pins clanking in the background, like that's just a sound, and it's just like it's a calming sound because it's home. So I got hit on a home basis with those characters talking about home, and I understood it. But this is not comedy. This is drama. These are heart-to-heart moments. I need people to pay attention to labeling things. This is not a comedy film. This is a drama film. I need people to pay attention to the background. If you're in a bowling alley and people are bowling, put the damn screens on so we can see what score is happening. I need scenes to go faster, especially if the film is 76 minutes long. I should not be looking at the ceiling waiting for the scene to end. Whew. I am getting too critical in my elder years, and I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. Let's hope the next film is better than this film. And the problem with this film is that the poster is so cool. It's neon, it's pink, it's nostalgic. The person who did the score for this, whoever did the original score for this, incredible. There were so many good things about this film that it sucks that I have to say how terrible it is. Last Night at Terrace Lanes. On to the next review. It's mahalo.